Well, today I'm going to be talking about a silly little topic, which is graphics in video games and their importance. And fittingly enough, the gameplay you're seeing here in the background is of Final Fantasy VII, a game which has a reputation for not having the best aged graphics, let's just say. So honestly, as someone who used the Nintendo Switch for over 7 years, I'd say that graphics really are far from the most important thing in a game, honestly. Like, if graphics were the most important thing, I wouldn't be playing Final Fantasy VII, as you see in the background. I wouldn't have gotten that far in the game. I would have probably dropped it 5 minutes in, because it's too ugly and has too many pre-rendered backgrounds. Get what I'm saying? But like, to me, honestly, it really, as long as the story is good, like in FF7, in my opinion, I think it's good, and also the gameplay, then that far outweighs the fact that the graphics aren't the greatest as well. But one thing with games that I enjoy is really the stylization, because honestly, real looking graphics aren't that impressive, because it's kind of a paradox. The more realistic the graphics of a game look, the more people think it looks good, but the more it looks like real life, the more people think it looks bland. Well, because real life is what a lot of people try to escape when they play video games, you know what I'm saying? And real life itself is bland to many people, so yeah, I am not surprised by that. Also, well, yeah, honestly, I'd say I do agree with a lot with the people saying that stylization is better than ultra realism, because ultra realism is something which takes up way more resources for video games, to a point where honestly I feel like when people and companies develop sequels to their best games, I feel like they could just use the old engine they had for that game in specific to make the sequel, because a lot of the time that old engine still looks very good. I'm gonna give an example. Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts 4. I get the point is that Sora is going to go to like real life and stuff, but personally I still do prefer the I still really like the Kingdom Hearts 3 art style they were going for. And since that game took like 7 years to develop, I don't really understand why they completely changed the graphics and then take a ton of time to develop the new game as well, even though you just made something really like special with the last game. Get what I'm saying? So yeah. Plus, if a game uses the same engine and a lot of the same assets as its predecessor, it gives a sense of continuity, in my opinion. Like, sometimes it's just not having enough time to develop the game properly, like Majora's Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask. But personally, I really do think that's a pretty cool thing. Like, yeah, makes it, and especially if the game released a long time after. It would add like a lot of it will make it feel like no time has passed at all, which is like a very interesting concept in my opinion. And yeah, that's what I think. And also yeah, honestly, I don't really get the point of trying constantly to make graphics look more and more realistic, because one day it'll get to a point where people will just want simpler graphics, and it's already started, right? And yeah, once again, that's why I'd say stylization is great, because when you stylize a game, it doesn't have to have the most stunning, beautiful graphics you've ever seen, the most realistic droplets of water. If it's stylized enough, there's a beauty in the stylization and the style and the art style of the game. That's it. Even ultra realistic games technically do have an art style, which is ultra realism, right? But that art style, it's not really an art style, but you get what I'm saying. But like, ultra realism is so close to real life, because that's the point, that it just makes you feel like you're being in real life, right? Which is not something I want to do while playing video games. I want to be immersed in the game, but not to the point where, you know, I think I'm actually like going outside and touching grass and stuff. So yeah, that's my opinion, personally. And yeah, honestly, yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why I like Final Fantasy, because some games from the PS1 era didn't really use stylization. They wanted to go all realistic with the PS1 hardware to show like as a technical showcase. So those games haven't really aged the best. You know, Final Fantasy VII kind of knows that it's on the PS1, if you get my drift, and uses and has a certain art style to it, a polygonal art style that fits the PlayStation 1 hardware. Like Cloud's character design is very polygonal in images, but also in the game. So like in that way, graphical limitations can actually enhance a game, because it pushes the developers to work with the hardware they have and not like bloat their games too much. So yes, another aspect of stylization I prefer is the fact that that a stylized game, like with a simple art style and all, is almost always going to have a smaller file size than a realistic one, because stylization doesn't take as many polygons. You don't have to have 4K, 120 FPS, HDR8. And also, yeah, that's why I like FF7. It doesn't try to be what it can't be, which is a high realism game, basically. It uses the PlayStation 1 hardware to its best, and that's very admirable, in my opinion. So yeah, conclusion. I wish more games were like FF7 in the way that they use the limited hardware that they have to make something really interesting, instead of pushing the gaming industry constantly to have better and better graphics and higher resolutions. So yeah, at this point, if we're being honest, gaming doesn't really need that much of a graphical upgrade, to be honest, but the industry always has to go forward somehow, so we're probably still gonna get slightly better graphics. Yeah, I'd say that's it for my rant. I really do believe that art style is better than graphics, unlike some people. And yeah, that'll be it for this video. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This was a very simple video of mine, but I think that the execution was a little better than the last one. So without further ado, have a nice day, goodbye to y'all, and sleep tight.